Well, we can start in the new Class 1 5A.
Yeah, let's do that.
Class 1 5A next year will be comprised of Hannah and Westside.
5 teams.
5 teams.
Yeah.
They're going to be joined by Woodmont, J.L. Mann, and Easley. The first thing that comes to mind when I see that region is that the Hannah Westside game is going to be for the region title again, probably.
Almost all
because,
of them, looks like it.
Woodmont, not that strong a football program. Easley, up and down. They have a few good years every now and then, but they also have some lean ones. And then J.L. Mann is just not known for their football program. They're good in other sports, but football is not one of them. People also noticed there's no Greenwood or Hillcrest in that region now.
I know.
Greenwood and Hillcrest have moved to Region 2, so that region has gotten very top-heavy. They also have Lawrence in that region.
Now, how many is in that region?
6.
6. And there's a region, I know at least one region down along the coast that has 8.
That would be Region 7.
Yeah.
That has Asher Ridge, Fort Dorchester, Goose Creek, James Island, Stratford, Somerville, Wando, and West Ashley.
Whew.
There are some humongous schools in that region.
Now, so what this means is people like Hannah, Westside, Woodmont, and Easley, they've got to go out of their region now and find some games.
They do. Because almost half the schedule now will be non-region games. I think we're going to see a lot more local matchups. We may see a Hannah BHP matchup or Westside Pendleton or county matchups. I think may even see more of a Hannah Seneca game, something like that. I think this opens the door to a lot of fun non-conference games between area teams. Big reason is I think it can save money on bus fare if you schedule local. May even start seeing some border wars between Hart County and maybe bringing Hart County or Elbert County over here to play some games with Hannah or Westside.
Now, in the old days, they did play some, and I go into the whys and why nots of that at some point. But they, I've gone over there and done Boys High, Hartwell games, and maybe Hannah Hartwell. I don't know. I don't recall Hartwell coming here.
I don't believe they have, no.
Okay.
But that would be, just another fun matchup. And
sure.
The other plus to keeping, scheduling county teams, maybe a classification down or so, it keeps money in the county. That's the big thing, I think, is that you keep Anderson money in Anderson County.
Everybody should be for that.
Yeah, I think everyone should be. And, even scheduling an Oconee or even a Pickens County team every now and then, I think that's good. Just to, play some teams you don't normally play.
Well, another thing, too, you might not be forced to play some teams who don't travel well.
Yeah.
A lot of schools travel well unless they're down.
Yeah.
And a lot of the schools here travel pretty well.
Yeah.
Hannah and Westside and BHP travel well. Seneca and Daniel travel well.
Yeah, especially with this new 5A region. Woodmont does not traditionally travel very well.
Right.
Man,
No.
football doesn't travel that well.
No.
Easily, if they're having a good year, they'll bring some people, but if they're lean, don't expect a big gate from those games.
Right.
So, really, that Hannah Westside game next year is going to be even more pivotal just from an athletic gate revenue standpoint.
Understand the gate this year was well over $40,000, and that did not include the concessions. Now, that's the information I had. It might not be true.
That sounds about right. It was almost full. It wasn't a complete sellout. There were some empty seats, but that was still an 8,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of an argument whether it's 8,000 or 82. I'll tell you a little something about that. I was on a committee that helped build that stadium, and I want to think it was 82.
Okay. If it was 82, I'd say there's probably about 7,900 people there. If it was 8,000, I'd say there's about 7,600 people there.
Okay, that's still pretty full.
That's still a great turnout for a game, and that's a lot of money for the athletic department to have for that one.
Yeah.
$40,000 can go a long way. But we can move now to the new Region 1 4A, basically the top of Western 3As of this region with BHP, Daniel, Greenville, Pickens, and Wren.
So Greenville's going to stay 4A.
Yeah, Greenville's going to stay.
They've been up and down forever.
Yeah, they have. That's one. I wouldn't be surprised if they moved to 5A in the next reclassification. Or,
probably.
With the way Greenville County open enrollment is, they could possibly even move to 3A in the next realignment. We'll have to wait and see how that happens. But this is going to be a pretty tough region, I think, with just BHP, Daniel, and Wren in one region. that promises for some stellar games, some stellar crowds. Greenville, we'll see if they can recover from this season where they have just one win.
Okay, is Seneca not here?
Seneca is in 1-3A still.
That's right. Yeah. Maybe you and I have discussed that they got to stay.
They did.
Yeah, okay.
They did, and they have a very, with the exception of one game, they have a pretty favorable region for the next 2 years. But again, I think this is going to be a very good region to have. I'm looking forward to this region. It's going to be the best of Western 3A, basically, in classification
right.
up. I'm also happy to see Union County moved up to 4A in the next region over. So could get to see some very nice matchups in the next round of playoffs next season.
Now, since you have it there, that 5A region, though, that's going to involve Greenwood and Hillcrest and somebody, that's going to be a tough region.
It is, and it looks like the toughest region in the state until you look at Region 3 in Class 5A.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That has Burns, Dorman University, as I like to call it, Gaffney, Spartanburg, and then...
poor old Bowling Springs.
Yeah, the weakest team in that region is Bowling Springs, and Bowling Springs is not that bad a football program.
And they beat Spartanburg this year.
Yes, they did. So Region 3 5A is already a heavy front runner for toughest region in the state next season. That's... which I was at Dorman last night for the Hannah volleyball game, and that's a very large place.
Oh yeah, I have not seen the new one.
It's big, and I could see why there was talk of consolidating Hannah and Westside just to have something to compete with the student body size that school brings you. But
right.
That's another story for another day, as I like to say.
Yeah, that's right.
But we can move now to the new Western 3A, New Western 3A. Seneca, Walhalla, and West Oak stay there, as they probably should. And then they're going to bring in Crescent and Pendleton.
That's unfair.
That is. Pendleton, I think, has a chance to hang with Seneca, just depending on how the student bodies. But Crescent, Walhalla, and West Oak, that'll be,
they got to play to see who comes in second.
Pretty much, I think. This looks like it's going to be... If Seneca can keep going how they did this year, that's going to be a battle for second place every year, just because of the talent they have coming from that school. I'm still questioning how Crescent moved up from 2A though. They were borderline, I think, and I was surprised they moved up to 3A. I thought they were going to stay in 2A with Liberty, but apparently the committee saw differently to that. And
they counted students. That's what they did. They count students.
They did. The student, the 135 ADM, which is what they use to figure out your yearly average enrollment, basically. It came up above that line they set for 2A and 3A demarcation, and they were above it. So this will be I'm looking forward to this region more for softball. This is going to be an amazing softball region.
You're right.
Because Crescent, we know what they bring to the table.
Right.
Pendleton, they're a good softball team. Seneca has gotten good the past few years. West Oak, they're losing their best pitcher, but they've kind of turned an upturn on their program. And Walhalla has traditionally been a pretty tough softball program.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Volleyball as well. Crescent, Pendleton, Seneca are all good volleyball programs. So a lot of fun in that region. We have two teams in the area, though, that are moving to Region 2. Powdersville has moved up from 2A, and they're going to join Palmetto in basically an all Greenville County region, with the exception of Palmetto. They're going to be playing Berea, Carolina, Emerald, which is down in Greenwood, and Southside. I'm not sure. I don't really
Emerald, that's a long way. That's strange as far apart as they are.
That is.
Emerald right now sounds like they've got a chance to be the king of a conference to me.
I think so. I think Powdersville will have a chance if they can continue growing as they are.
Keep going.
But Berea and Carolina and, Berea and Carolina typically aren't the strongest football programs in the world. Berea does have Wayne Green coaching them now, so we'll see how that plays out the next few years.
Sure.
Southside had a good season this year, but we'll have to see if they can continue that because they're traditionally not a perennial region title contender.
Oh, no.
Palmetto, I think, is definitely going to benefit from this move. This seems like a little more even playing field for them from the Western 3A. And Powdersville, I think this will be a good move for them as well, across sports. That'll be a fun region to watch. It'll just be tough to get to games because we have these other local matchups in Region 1 3A and 1 4A. But still be a fun region, I think. And then finally in Class 1 AA, just for those that want to know, Liberty is moving from Region 1, the old Skyline 2A, to Region 2. And this move is not good for them for football because they will have Abbeville to deal with, 96, and this year's region champion, Southside Christian. Very, very tough region for them. There's also Brasher Middle College and Greenville Tech Charter, but they don't play football there. There's going to be other non-football sports.
But they don't have to put up with Saluda and Strom Thurmond. And
no, they do not have to deal with them anymore. They don't have Liberty. Also doesn't have to deal with Blacksburg or Chesney or Landrum, so they don't have to do those long bus rides anymore. But you trade that for playing Abbeville in 96, and for baseball,
I'd rather take a bus ride.
Yeah, I would too. For baseball, that one's going to be 96 and everyone else probably, because if anyone's ever actually watched 96, they play and beat 4A teams pretty consistently. That's how good they are down there. They played Hannah earlier this last season.
Yeah.
And they beat them 11-3.
And Hannah was good.
Hannah was a good ball team, but 96 is just a completely different animal. The only thing that I didn't like about this new reclassification, before this was done, the league voted to make private schools play upper classification. So
yeah,
Christ Church was going to have to play in 2A. All those schools that had been dominant down in the single A division were going to have to move to 2A. They got rid of that law. I wish they would have kept it, but at least for this 2-year cycle, Christ Church and all those private schools are moving up to 2A anyway. I just would have liked to see it where they have to play up a division no matter how big their enrollment is. But that's just a personal opinion.
The reason for this, I assume, is kind of like my reason. These schools have a right, and they can go out and recruit, and always have.
They can, and that's their business. That's what they want to do, and they're a private school for a reason. I just think if you have the ability to pick your players you want, you should have to play a division up, because you can get, it's not like if you go to Liberty, you have to find the best players you can just because they're there. Now, I know there's this big argument that says, there's open enrollment in a lot of counties now. You can switch schools, no problem. and that is true. Kids can transfer schools a lot easier now year to year and play that next season.
That should be a statewide thing.
It is. It should.
It should be. I know we've had some controversy right here in Anderson over it.
Yes, we have. There's been,
and there was controversy some years back, even some court cases, and this high school league was taken to court over some people coming from, was it Palmetto or somewhere to play over here?
Yes.
And that should be If you're in one school district, for instance, at Wren, wanted to play his sports and go to Crescent. Now, it's up to him to get there. I don't think the state or the buses should have to take him there.
Yes, that's something very similar to what Oconee County school districts do now. Of course, they have the zoned areas where if you live in that particular area, you are zoned to go to that particular high school. But if you can provide your own transportation, you can go to any school in Oconee County you want if you are a resident of Oconee County free of charge.
See, that's where it should be.
Yes.
Go on.
And there was an incident a few years ago. There was a quarterback at Walhalla by the name of Trey Stevens. Mm-hmm. He was the same year as the starting quarterback, Israel Williamson. Stevens was likely not going to play that much. He was also on the basketball team. So the next season, he transfers to Seneca, where they needed a quarterback because their starter had graduated, and they needed a new quarterback. So he went there to play quarterback for them and had a nice little 2-year career for them, and he got to start and also got to play on their basketball team. So, that worked for him. He didn't get stuck behind a guy that was, better fit to run what Walhalla was running.
Yeah. And also, another thing that's happened is sometimes a kind of gifted player wants to go to a larger school to have a chance to be seen, maybe for more. There was a kid named Ford
Cameron Ford from
Cameron.
Palmetto. Yes.
All right. So, and he was from Palmetto.
Yes, he was. He was the quarterback for Palmetto.
And so there had to be some legal action taken to allow him